All right, welcome everyone. Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Bungou Stray Dogs,
Season 5, Episode 11.
Season finale.
Yep.
How in the bloody hell are they supposed to get out of this and have anyone actually, be okay?
Here's how. Aya-chan goes up to Bram and is like, "You are not a gun. You are who you choose to be." Who you choose.
Iron Giant, let's go. Oh my god.
And then he flies off into the sky.
In some ways, you could
Superman.
say that he is the blood giant, and iron is very heavy in the blood.
There we go.
So
I was
it does
definitely
work.
thinking of that.
It does work in that regard. And it's a sword,
Yeah, but
it's kind of like forged iron into steel. So.
But Atsushi, was this what you were told about that made you be like, I'm not sure what to do?
Nuclear war. World War III, that I'm not sure I should stop that.
Extinction of the human race? I don't know, Chief. Oh, hey, Akutagawa. Like,
Bungou Stray Dogs, you have a lot of explaining to do by the end of this episode.
Explaining to do.
So, yeah, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. Push that table into tomorrow. Go beyond.
Hate to tell you, if the original drop didn't do it,
Yep.
it's not gonna be enough.
We need a wild Atsushi to grab the table. Oh my god.
Impact?
How can they target 30 million cities with so few bombs? These must be hydrogen bombs. Like, all of humanity will be vampires. So that's the way they'll survive the apocalypse,
Right.
It's not your fault. It's not
And
your
then the
fault.
page will unvampire them. Lack of wait.
Don't do it. No! Oh, I was joking, but... Oh! Ow!
Ah!
It worked!
Now catch the sword as you fall, and then become the hero of justice.
No way. What?
No way.
He's holding something in his left hand. Why are you talking?
Oh no, is this all gonna get rewound?
Yes! Yes!
Oh shit.
Oh!
Oh!
He's so
Oh! That's so badass!
The nukes have already been fired!
And I don't think you're in charge of them, so...
Where is this? Yeah! How are you doing it? Just vampires. Oh.
I'm almost sad he's gone. Oh. Oh wait.
Yeah.
This would be so dirty.
Yeah.
What if the poison was a placebo?
The vampires are not.
Oh shit. God damn it.
What? How?
He's tried to kill himself so many times.
Yeah. Bram saved you.
Awesome.
Holy shit. Oh, fuck. Let's go.
Fantastic. Yes!
Oh! Yes! Absolute cinema! Yes! Yes!
Alright, let's go!
Oh, they were never... Their Their arming
disarmed,
mechanism
yeah.
was turned off. Okay.
We'll need to safely recover them later so that, you know,
Yeah.
the entire ocean was poisoned.
Oh my god.
You were cocky as shit.
Yeah, how is
How in the
that?
fuck?
Are you kidding me? Goddamn
Wait.
Shuya!
Oh my god.
Oh!
What?
Are you kidding me?
That is fantastic. Oh shit, and there's the book. So they'll be together for their fun. God damn it.
That's immaculate. Which, yeah, because of his gravity, so it... Of course they did! No way! Boom!
Well, shit.
Holy shit, does I.
Wow.
Just, yeah, Chuya wasn't a vampire.
Yeah.
Yeah. But how did you get fooled by that, Fyodor? Like...
And so, the end is near.
Mm-hmm.
国連安保理決議2415号が採決される。各国国軍に直轄指令可能な司令系を認める特例条文が追加される。だがそれは世界を征服するためではない。
But that's
お前の目的は
that's egotistical as hell. Like,
Yeah, that.
世界から戦争を
yeah, no, I get that's your goal.
But like, that only lasts as long as you are alive.
Well, even then, that's so
Yeah.
twisted in its thinking that you are some supremely like
Right.
perfect. You'll judge humanity, but you won't judge yourself.
36年後だ。ある日、雨の午前による暗号が届いた。
Whoa.
36年後に起こる世界
Oh, shit.
福沢。お前ならどうする？
Right. So if he's basically going,
おめでとうニコライ。彼を殺したかったんだろ？ああ、その通りだ。いや、違う。
It's complicated.
well,
いつもみてえに皮肉は言わねえのか。いや、
someone died.
今日はやめておく。
Yeah.
かつて戦国の世、この国では藩と藩が戦争し殺し合っていた。昔藩と藩は主権の異なる別の集団、すなわち彼らであった。だが交流の容易な隣県は同一集団。
Yeah, this is. I understand this.
故に遠い未来、通信交通の進歩で彼らは自然と我らになり、放っておいても
Totally.
は消滅する。
So
I
just
think that's
Keep
that's,
staving it off for a little bit. And eventually.
あれはお前がキントンを盗んできた時だが。
Oh, this is sweet for them to have this closure, though.
数百の国家を一夜で
Yep.
統合など
Yep.
できん。
Yeah, I know.
整合性の制約があるからだ。
Something like a villain trying to destroy the world.
大雑把に言えば国家とは暴力の権利を持つ。
The shadow comes over.
すべからく国がこれを認可する。すべての軍が人類軍帰化となれば戦争は起こらん。そのための のテロ計画今後世界は人類軍総帥を頂点とした超国家人類連邦を樹立現実が改変され人類は統一されて
humanity would believe that there's no need to... Okay, with the page, that's pretty dark, but it would work because the page has that kind of power. But yeah, thank you.
Yes. Yeah, I couldn't figure that part out, but
yeah. Wow. Wow. Bro is counting. That's kind of your deal, Fukuzawa, from before. Yeah. What?
gotcha. Okay.
Oh. And the transfer of ownership of the sword.
Like watching over a seppuku.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the difference.
Nice.
Cool.
Nice. Oh. Oh.
Okay.
Oh. Damn. I felt that. I felt that.
Yeah.
Oh.
This is the best I
Don't
could
get
find.
that answer. Yeah. Oh.
Alright.
I love it. They simplified it down to very like core elementary components and then basically posited the question of dictatorship of the one in exchange for world peace for a time.
Yeah.
But if you're doing it because you know that a world war is coming,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
Wow.
yeah. Yeah, he was. Uh-huh.
Cool.
Yes, that is...
That's it. Yeah.
Oh.
Can't do it.
Yeah, yeah. Damn it. That's a cool consequence. That's a cool consequence.
Right.
Shit.
It's the breaking his own ideals
Yep.
because his friend paid for it with his life. What?
Season 6 is gonna be nuts.
What?
Holy Akutagawa drip upgrade.
Came right out of like Bloodborne.
So that's like something
Okay.
10 episodes from now or something? Like,
I don't know. It might be.
What the hell? All right.
Okay.
The finale of Bungo
Cool.
Stray Dogs Season 5.
Yep.
We answered all the questions. We had all the plot twists solved.
Right.
Julia was never a vampire. Theodore, you are absolutely a stupid...
See,
I can't believe that you bought Julia just walking around going... like, and we're like...
well, see,
Clearly, this is a vampire.
I will say, this just goes to show it's all Theodore's inability to trust people and get close to people. Because if he had
sure.
literally just touched Chuya at any moment, he'd be like, this bitch is not ice cold.
This bitch is warm.
Yeah, like I know Chuya doesn't exactly look like he's someone who would run hot, but like there's a big difference between ice cold corpse and just someone who needs to wear thick socks at night.
I understand that Chuya's gonna get really into the role play with Dazai, if you know what I mean. But
absolutely,
it's the idea that Fyodor never suspected a thing. That is.
Which I guess is just, that's his own arrogance, right?
That is his own arrogance, like, sure. If you're going to have the villain's fatal flaw be their own arrogance, in some ways twice in the same episode, great, sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still think he like, Fyodor's extremely smart. Like, that's a pretty stupid example.
Yeah, for the ridiculous, well, okay, yeah. For the ridiculous levels of intelligence that these guys have displayed.
Yes.
To be bamboozled by something that dumb
because he put fangs on and
and colored contacts
and
like that is
did something to lower his temperature. Right. I don't know.
He took a bunch of Gollum juice, yeah.
Every once in a while, he probably.
Yeah, right. That is absolutely dumb and unbelievable. But it's possible that Dazai's like, no. When you have super geniuses like this, the way you trick them is with the elementary school bullshit.
Right,
because
the really stupid stuff.
Because
that's the only thing that will sneak by them. Because
exactly.
They think everyone thinks at least somewhat intelligently.
Right, and so you just do the basic ass, like,
You literally put the stage mask goofy, glasses and nose on.
Oh, I just switched the,
I am Vampire Chuya.
I just switched to the tags on the, on the rooms or whatever, and there you go, right? Like.
All right.
Yeah.
But we found out Fukuchi's motivation, which was to end all war, which we understood that was probably what it was going to be, but how this would end all war, the idea that I don't want to spoil all the other shows that do this exact same thing. I was about to right there.
Yep.
But this is a very, I would say, very good style of military plot twist.
Sure.
For the villain to actually be the good guy. But in a lot of ways, usually, there's a lot of things that need to be hand-waved away logically in order for it to make sense beyond just we needed to stop the horrifically bad thing that was going to happen. Right. And we'll figure out the humanity problem later.
Yeah, and so they
basically bring up there was a prophesied world war.
Yeah.
And that we never knew about.
Yep,
so
because he has the sword where he can send messages to his past and all that stuff.
Now, the question I have is, why didn't he tell anybody about the world war that's coming?
Yeah, it's so okay. This almost feels like commentary on this kind of ending with the level of like additional things that were clever meta band-aids to patch up what otherwise might just be something that's cool on first impression, and then you think about it more and it sort of breaks down.
Right.
So the page smoothing out all the other stuff
to make humanity believes
it and buys it and
is willing to be unified.
Yeah, is willing to be
wonderful.
Unified. Awesome. Cool. Yeah.
Because the page was just this hanging MacGuffin of all this plot importance, and the idea that it would be used for that specifically.
Right. It's
great. That was the biggest problem that would happen with something like this.
It's not to make things happen, it's glue so that the things that happen stick. Right?
Yes.
And so that could even be potentially with the whole idea of, the power being passed down through the generations and having it take longer for it to become some big corrupting thing, and by then so much stuff has happened as far as the progression of humanity that it's a completely unrecognizable landscape.
I love that commentary about how feudal Japan in the modern time wouldn't be constantly killing each other because the resources and the collaboration that's possible and the communication that's possible is so easy that kind of conflict isn't what happens. But we still do have war. We still do have trade wars. We still do have people greedily trying to manipulate others for resources or their own selfish
At the end
ends.
of the day, war is a form of negotiation, right? And
especially nowadays.
Yeah. And you could argue that it is a very necessary form of negotiation so that way in the actual negotiations people play nice, right? It's the war doesn't get too out of hand.
It's a cold look on things, but it is basically the idea that unless something dramatically changes, it is kind of at that point. Yeah.
Right. It's the all right, we know things can get way worse, so no one wants to go there. Let's stay here.
Yeah, if someone abuses their power basically in such a way, not a lot of countries specifically have a lot of leverage over other countries, and the idea that that's power that they can wield without war.
Right,
like the idea that you could be the hey, you are overstepping your bounds and acting upon, because like thinking about the idea of like the US alone is extremely large and powerful comparatively to every other nation in the world. But there's a lot of other conflicts that are happening between nations that are comparatively way more powerful than the one that they're taking advantage of.
Or just talking about like corporate power, you know, because that's something where it's like
organizational power,
right? Organizational power, where it's playing within the rules of society, but clearly in a way that is not equal and not fair.
Oh, it's absolutely abusive.
And so that's something where war doesn't really apply there. Hopefully, you know, but that is still very much an injustice, right?
Right.
And so, you know, like I liked all the things that Fukushi was bringing up as far as like the stuff that he learned from, where it's like, yes, obviously there was all the barbaric stuff of it, right? But it's I was able to basically keep that part of me that's still like thinking about it from like bird's eye view, removed from the situation as much as I can. You know, I did have a lot of time since that war, right? These are the kinds of things that I'm basically bringing up that I can have learned from it that are not just trauma response learning from it. Right.
No, he rationally thought as far as he could along the lines that a lot of creative writers and stuff have thought about the idea of how you would tackle world peace through war. It is pretty ass backwards for the most part.
Yeah.
But it is something that if you would tackle it, you would basically say, hey, for a period of time, you could have a form of human beings putting aside conflict to be united against a greater threat. But that still propagates the same problem, basically.
Right. And this is where I want to kind of go into some of the meta angles of why I think this kind of ending for, you know, stories or arcs of stories is so popular. Yeah. Because it does address a lot of things that are really
a lot more popular.
It's become a lot more popular.
This wasn't a thing 30 years ago, I would say.
I'll bet a lot of it is from, you know, general anti-war sentiment and things like that, and being more educated about the idea that othering people is not helpful.
Yes, I think that's probably the main part of it, less about the anti-war stuff, because we've had good human anti-war sentiment for a long time.
Sure.
But I think what it is now is that we're entering the modern era where we're able to see the sci-fi become reality, and people are looking towards the future and going, wait, could we... Like, people dream of world peace, but could we actually attain world peace by solving the resource problem, by solving the othering problem? And the idea that in a lot of ways we've made so much progress on both fronts just via the natural progression of humanity that it's like, wait, we can actually start talking about this in our fiction now.
Right. And so then alongside that, there are a lot of story questions and issues that basically come up that it also addresses.
Yes.
One, if you're going to tell a story, the story needs to have conflict. If there isn't conflict, what's the point of writing the story, right? You could imagine a world where the world is already at peace or whatever, but okay, you know, what happens then, right? Like, and so this is a thing where, all right, cool, you know, work towards that, great. If it can be done in a story that is exciting because it involves a bunch of action that then ends with the, you know, world peace. It also solves the potential issue of, hey, let's say you want to introduce a badass villain, right? And you want the villain to actually have a point. So he's not just, you know,
the villain wants world peace.
Yeah, the villain wants world peace.
Sure.
How do you make it so that you don't have the situation where it's like, okay, you want world peace, but you're doing this horrific stuff. What the fuck? You're just a madman. Or the villain gets beaten by the protagonists, and in doing so, the person that was set up to be like intelligent and had been planning this for decades and stuff, retroactively kind of ends up seeming a bit like a joke because they got just beaten by, you know, the protagonists, right? Like, okay, you know, how do you have a situation where the villain wins, but the story has a nice conclusion? Oh, hey, if the villain knows that basically that they are the villain in a weird meta way, and so they're like, yes, and I think that's necessary, and I'm willing to play that part, including the, and now I can die and be sacrificed or whatever as the final piece of it.
Yep.
All right, cool. Then that makes sense, right? It's not just the person pontificating that this thing needs to happen.
But then you still have to go back and look at their actual logic behind what they're doing and going, hey, you had a lot of time to doubt what you were doing. Did you ignore all other logical angles of this because you were like, this doesn't feel extreme and final enough? Or basically go through and prove that those things wouldn't work.
Right.
And this story basically brings up two hard angles to show that, one, other options wouldn't work, and this way could work. One is the book's existence in general is already... It's a bit of a risky thing to have in a story in general, just to have I can make a wish, basically. But then the other part of it was the world war that is coming that means we're guaranteed at least hundreds of millions of people to die if nothing happens.
Yep.
But because you don't know how that's going to happen, you don't know basically whether or not your own decisions are enough to change the course trajectory of humans.
Yeah.
And so then it basically gets put onto the audience of, do you buy the world war was coming angle enough that he needed to do just crazy things in order to make it be some other outcome?
Was the villain's plan the simplest and the most looking back, does it pass the sniff test? If you go back through knowing that this is what the situation is, are there ever those moments where you're like, wait, this is super obtuse? Because the idea of doing a plan like this is very obtuse, right? It is very complex and convoluted.
Right.
So you need it to be something that is crazy enough where you have to do something that complex and convoluted because that's the only way that you can actually fix it, right?
The problem is then you go circle back and it's the book again.
Right, because if you have the book, you could probably have come up with something much simpler.
The book kind of says, in terms of story here, that we are already buying that human beings are willing to unify. Because a story happened that gave them a decent option to choose that. So the idea that all you need really is to create a story and then tack on the best possible timeline ending for that.
Right. Yep.
That's where this to me feels like it's a good anime story, but we went into the the other ways that you could solve world peace with a wish granting device are not interesting stories.
Right.
And so they went with this route because it's interesting.
Right. And so then once you have that, once you have the thing where the villain didn't actually need to be fought, effectively the whole thing was a stage play.
Yeah. Which then we can go back to the human angle and go, that's kind of the point. This guy also went through hell, war, and all that.
Oh, yeah.
And he kind of needed to reach his friend. And thus, this is where his fatal flaw was not that he was arrogant, but that this was personal. And that he was I still can't get over the pain of loss of you and I splitting up and you going your route to save things. And then I went mine. And now that we're on our separate paths, I wish we could work together, but I don't see the way in which we can ever work together again. Not because I hate you or anything,
but because we're such different people.
We're such different people, and what we want is so simple. And maybe also, not that I think that Fukuchi believed that Fukuzawa failed him in some utter total way, but when asked of the dream of what he wanted, Fukuzawa was not the better man. Fukuzawa wanted the strength to protect those around him. What that is that's an othering. That's basically saying, I want to protect only those that matter to me.
Me and mine, yeah.
Me and mine. I want to protect us.
Yeah, much less idealistic.
Not them.
More practical, for sure.
Well, it's the idea of the simplistic angle of he's not trying to do something that goes beyond his capacity.
Right.
The idea that when you dream, a lot of people think that, oh, this has to be something then that is your dream, therefore only something you can do. But it's arrogant to think that you can do anything alone.
Sure, okay.
By definition, you cannot do anything alone. Like, you go back, and it's a bit annoying to think like this, but it's the idea that the efforts and everything that led you to the point that you're at right now came about because of others.
Sure.
But if you build that philosophy, if you build that way of thinking deep into the core of who you are, it will make you just more collaborative. It will make you think bigger than yourself. You will be less selfish. You will be more compassionate to others.
Or to put another way, a goal is something that's practical. A dream that is something that is not.
Right. A dream is something that will require you to stretch beyond the bounds of what you are capable of. Not so that you become this ubermensch standing atop the world and I will be the dictator of the one and rule all of humanity here. But it's actually what they kind of joke about a lot in this season was it's the power of friendship. It's literally we work together. We don't need a page.
And so taking it back to the whole idea of if you have a villain who wins, right, and the whole thing is a stage play, what you then end up having afterwards is what is the purpose and sort of the deeper meaning of the story that we just watched, right? Because we have all of these struggles and in the dirt and the mud, right? All right, we have to fight to survive. We have all these different things that are as a result of this, overarching plot, right? But then what's the big things that make it so that way it's yes, I'm glad I watched this story, right? And I think I would posit that goes into the deals like with Aya and Brahm, where it's a kind person that basically decided to be courageous, and hey, they were able to save the world, right?
Right, because Aya-chan is literally the actual reason why the world was saved. Saved.
Yep.
And it wasn't just that she was the one that decided it, but she was willing to die and sacrifice herself in order to do it. And so, I think when looking back on this season, my favorite stuff is basically everything with Brahm and Aya, because it's silly and it's ridiculous.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's something that is so it's so heartwarming because of the stuff that you're talking about there.
Right.
It's the compassion of the elder vampire.
And
it's the plucky courage of the small child, Yep.
It's Sam facing against Shelob. It's it's the kid staring down Cthulhu or whatever.
It's a human being desiring and dreaming of world peace.
Right.
It's you sweet summer child, you don't know.
But it's so misguided and short-sighted, but also
not even I would say short-sighted or misguided. Just the idea of that's naive.
Sure.
It's the idea that no, you're guided in the right direction. You are absolutely not short-sighted. You're thinking in a way that is a dream that is oft abandoned by the disheartened idealist that basically grew up. And that's the point of Fukuchi's character, is that he was the hero, the idealist that basically went to war and almost lost all of that. In some ways you could say he did, but he was making the point that Fukuzawa's ideals and his way of doing things is still worse.
Right. And so this is where another layer of the whole villain gets beaten but wanted to get beaten kind of a thing is, in my mind, or at least my take on it, is you need to have the villain be someone that is also okay with winning. Right? Because the story loses some of its luster if he intended to fail. He actually let Fukuchi kill him or something, or Fukuzawa kill him. If it's even if you do kill me, I'm okay with that because I've made my peace.
Right.
But if you can't, I will still be the evil dictator in this case because I know at least why I'm doing it and I believe that it is worth it.
Right.
It's better if I don't.
But
if no one else will, I will.
Because then in some ways it basically says this character was not this character was not doubting their conviction. And so all the points that we could look back on you could have, if you were wavering, you could have made this decision here. And that solves a lot of there was better solutions that were not interesting stories, but we didn't do that because the character that was the villain in this case had the belief and the conviction and the lack of self-doubt to question why they were doing this. As they started to realize, I'm crafting myself into this villain so that I can be the hero that, not the one humanity deserves, but the one it needs.
Yeah, exactly. And it's I'll get ousted or defeated or whatever.
Right. And so then it is either way I win kind of situation. And I feel like, to me, a lot of the villains that have done this in other stories, a lot of the ones also that win, that basically are being the villain in a way that does something temporarily good enough compared to they basically choose the lesser of two evils.
Right.
I feel like that's far more compelling than the oh, the heroes win, and then we're able to see that the villain was just a misguided
right, and that's where
hero
exactly
but was willing to kill 500 for the sake of it.
And the idea of it being 500 instead of 500,000 is really just a thing to like. That's just a more poetic number.
Well, that's just because we have superpowers.
Yeah,
it's to show we could do it this way, and it's a way of showing Fukuzawa, this is how you did it. You assassinated a few key people with their people and stuff in order to end the war that was killing millions or whatever.
Yeah, and so, oh, hey, there you go, right? You played the numbers game and you did it well, right? You know,
I learned from you, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Theoretically, it could have been something where it was the, 5 million people that need to be sacrificed in order to save the 210 million or whatever. And I'm sure Fukuchi probably still would have seen it as being worthwhile. It might have taken some more like, I don't really want to do that, but let's see if we can get it down to 500. Okay, only 5 million. Okay,
that's that's the human part of him, I think, is that he specifically was, and something that was characterized before this, like he's like, I don't want to kill you. Like I actually, we saw a very cool bit of restraint characterized by his actions early on in the season.
Yes. And so having the consistency with that is also really nice.
Yeah.
Because, anytime you have a big recontextualizing plot twist, you want it to, like, the rewatch value is why you do those twists, right? So
part of it,
Part of it, I guess. Yeah, it's still just for the, wow factor
shock,
of, of it happening, right? But, So if you're going to do something that so totally recontextualizes
that'd
things,
be fun to then rewatch this show in that regard, because I feel like Fukuchi was threatening, at least in my mind, to become like an even better villain than Fyodor.
Oh, sure.
But Fyodor was just handled so well these last 2 seasons that I still think Fukuchi is just a little bit short.
I think Fukuchi is a bit better because I think Fyodor was kept to the realm of scheming and sort of like he wasn't as exposed as a villain, if that makes sense.
Well, that's my point, is that in a lot of ways Fukuchi gets to get scrutinized because he basically bared himself. But I would say in that respect, that's why I don't think he's as good of a villain. I feel like he's a character that was I don't even know how to describe it, but basically I like these types of characters in theory, and oftentimes in practice the ending can completely like flub it for me. And I would say that his ending was good enough, but is probably my least favorite of this type of like villain that was sacrificed at the end.
I'm trying to think about
there's a lot. I don't want to go into the spoilers of how many there are. I've seen at least half a dozen. But like,
they're the main ones that I think of.
There's some where maybe the reason why I'm discounting them is because there was nothing about them that was right to begin with.
Right,
it's the you have to really squint hard to be like they were a necessary villain or something.
To bring up a villain type development that is different but similar, the Aizen style. I planned this all from the beginning. That's the level of bullshit where, one, it's not even interesting even if he did do that, right? But it's, it's like, okay, that's, like, you completely discount that and throw it away, like, because it's like, that's dumb, right? But but that isn't even arguing for some grander purpose.
No,
so it's
not.
also like...
That's why I don't put that in the same conversation here.
Sure.
I'm saying I like Fukuchi as a villain, and I think that his ending was good enough. I don't think that, though, the amount of scaffolding we had to do in order to basically make his decision be a noble one versus I was genuinely like wanting to win this here. I had no grand plan to make sure that I would lose in a specific way.
Right. I will also say the thing of Atsushi knowing and then running off towards, to try and find him, I kind of would have personally preferred that not be here, because once that exists, you kind of know that it has to be something like this for Fukuchi, right? Because otherwise, we do not know Atsushi at all, right? Like, it sort of must be that.
Say what you're saying again.
If Atsushi would be like, oh, I don't know what I should do if I should even try to stop him. then Fukichi has to have some, I'm going to stop war, I'm going to whatever, right? Because otherwise, what the fuck? Atsushi just became the biggest monster ever, right?
Well, no, that's how we knew there had to be something there. But I could not predict what he was going to do would be something that would stop all war.
Oh, totally, right.
Like, we predicted that he wanted to stop all war, but I thought it was going to be something where he was going to be spending the world's weapons on something that would basically depower
launch the nukes into space or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and the only reason why I'm thinking it might have punched a bit harder if it didn't have that is because then we would still have the tension of Fukichi truly being terrifying rather than we know he's terrifying, but also he can't be that bad for like a couple episodes before we get the actual reveal.
Right.
Because otherwise what's going on with Atsushi, you know?
Right. Yeah. And to me, that's where yeah, there's just too many moving parts, I feel like, in this season where Okura's stuff is one that I'm really big fan of the pain of her basically feeling like this guy had failed in his goal, basically because of his friend here,
right?
And so now she steps in to be like, no, you have to follow through, you have to be willing to do this,
right? And you weren't willing to do it. We kind of figured as much. I'll do it, you need to take credit.
Right.
Which I like that, where it's like
too.
Fukuzawa fully proves that he is the kind of person that you would want to have that kind of power, right? Like, if theoretically something like this were to happen.
But then also, based on his ideals, they've already been dismantled here. So he shouldn't wield this kind of power. So the idea that he's like, I should then destroy this, and then immediately realizes, shit, I actually can't. Yeah. Because...
Right. I in this moment, I will place the life of my friend over the will of the people.
Yeah.
That
was probably the most compelling part to me about this, was the personal angle and the way that Fukichi won the personal philosophy battle against Fukuzawa. But that's kind of a fun, more kind of specific example of how Fukuzawa got characterized these last two seasons.
Yes.
In that we got a lot to understand the idea of the man that was willing to use violence to protect the state, basically.
Right.
And the point that Fukichi was basically making was that you think too small. And the idea that you think and care only about the state or the ADA abandons all those others out there that are going to be on the other end of your violence or your might makes right ideals.
That's great that the ADA can help people in Japan or in this specific city of Japan, but what about all the other shit that's out there?
Or just the idea that, like, cool, you've made your own little posse that you can protect. That's wonderful. Do you have any dreams that you pass on to them? Do you encourage the ADA to dream? Do you encourage them to go and recruit more ADA members so that you can keep going and doing... If you're doing such a good thing, then you should be growing. But no, you seem like you've just got your own little club that just kind of does your own little thing. And this is actually a good conversation, I would say, that Fukichi kind of pointed at without saying. But the idea that if you're doing good, you should be growing. You should be recruiting and bringing more people basically to help realize this good thing that you're doing. And I'm not going to get into the nature of good, wrong, evil, whatever there. I'm just basically bringing up the idea that if your organization is doing something and it is actually helpful, but you're not trying to spread it as fast as possible or what have you, something inherently in what that organization is or why you're doing it is flawed. And that's okay, because nothing is perfect.
Sure.
But the idea that you can usually get at the root issues of an organization or a group or some kind of belief, ideal, or what have you, just go and find the member that's basically not doing anything. And be like, why aren't you doing anything? Oh, it's because I don't believe in this thing that it actually is. Like, see? Yeah.
Mind if I take that for a spin? That also is, it's sort of a different direction, but it's... So, we had this whole deal with Edogawa Ranpo doing his wonderful televised broadcast, right? Fantastic moment for, this arc, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. Realistically, that kind of thing is much more useful for him to be doing in general than any kind of, like, murder mystery solving. I know that is not necessarily the stuff that excites him, but put that into a room where he can help work on logistics to solve world hunger or something.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's realistically, that's
right
where he...
And that's where Bungo Stray Dogs is not about being realistic. It's about people...
Yeah, then we wouldn't have this story. And so...
And that's kind of the problem that's where I think kind of the problem lies also for me. Fukuchi is not a character for this world and story. He doesn't fit.
Right. The more serious we take him, the more we have to step away from basically the style that Bungo is.
Yeah.
And then, and so then if we're buying into the ending and resolution to his conflict and stuff, there's a bunch of other things in the show that kind of get...
It's the Thanos problem of basically like, why didn't you just wish for double the resources?
Yeah, exactly.
Why didn't Fukuchi basically start to build the narrative in the story that humanity is going to build towards something where we are no longer reliant on war for resources or something like that?
Yeah.
Like you haven't convinced us in the story's mechanics of the powers, because that's not the kind of thing that you're interested in.
Yeah.
In what the actual limits of the book are, other than it making sense in a narrative.
Right, because this is a really dope way to end a sick as hell superpowered samurai fight.
It really is.
And totally get it, right? Having people talk about like food distribution, that's not necessarily going to be very exciting, right?
No.
But that is definitely where my mind goes once we start going into these like...
Right. I think that's just the part where, again, the idea that humanity would be willing to basically become incorruptible and unified because of a single event that happened that was really intense and scary.
With a lot of meta glue from the page.
Right, meta glue from the page.
Yeah.
I feel like that is something where what Fukuchi's point is that if I can have that last long enough until humanity solves the resource problem, I was right, it was worth it.
Right.
And so that's the question of, in that period of time, was there another narrative you could have come up with?
Yeah,
I think the answer is definitely yes, but the problem is I'm operating on the basis of it being in a world with no superpowers. He is in a world with superpowers where one person can do these stupid, ridiculous, crazy things.
Sure.
So an organization of 5 called the Decay of the Angel or what have you
can bring the world to its knees practically. It's the Joker. Look what I did with a bunch of bullets and gasoline. You know? Right. And so, who knows? Maybe. But also, like, the narrative glue thing that helps make this specific plan work better also makes it retroactively make way less sense.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And
so it's fun because we're still watching Bungo Stray Dogs. This is not the final episode of the show.
We have our season cliffhanger thing where
which
apparently
is like, hey, yes, season 6 will be a thing.
Yep. And check out what other dope fighting shit is going to happen.
Some kind of Final Fantasy-esque villain flying in here with the sword. Fighting Bloodborne Akutagawa and Atsushi.
Yes, fantastic. Right?
I thought the Sentinels were going to show up from X-Men, and it was just going to be like, this was the dark future that was envisioned, and thankfully it's not happening. But it is, because Theodore did get away.
And then Chuya shows up, but he forgot to take his vampire fangs off, and he's like, shit. Okay.
And Dazai shows up, and he's ready to like fight, and he's got tons of bite marks all over his body, because
right, like the contrast between the two reveals that we probably got more reveals than that, but between the polar opposite ends of the reveals of, I did all of this in order to save the world so that way, from itself, and so that we can be, at least at peace long enough in order to, and yes, I thought about the one, dictator of one problem, and all of that. And then on the other side,
I glued fangs to my
fangs to mine, and I put on these dope little colored contacts, and oh my god, he's totally back. We have both of those things in this same finale.
Right, and so I think this was just the example where Bungo Stray Dogs asked me to take the show as seriously as possible as it's ever has before.
Yes.
And this was like the moment where I was like, you know what? I liked Fukuchi. I liked Fukuchi a lot. Mm-hmm. I think his character is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. I think his villain plan is, about as I'm a writer and I want a cool writer-villain thing here. And I went and I did think about all those tropes. I did think about all those things. Yep. But the problem that, like, you're watching Bungo Stray Dogs.
Right.
And I would love this so much more if Fukuchi was, like, the the character that we had from the very beginning of the series, to keep that serious side of things through him throughout the whole thing. But for a character to get introduced later in the show, after even another member of Decay of the Angel.
Right, and in the same, seasons and stuff where Dazai and Fyodor are like, what number am I thinking of? This one. What number am I thinking of? This one. This is boring. I know, we're just both so smart.
Right.
Ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
Those are one very ungrounded thing and one very like, hey, let's get serious for a second.
Let's talk about things that have no answer, basically.
Right.
Or are uncomfortable answers.
Sure.
I just felt stretched this episode. I felt stretched for a decent bit before this episode, but then it was ending all war. I can't spoil all those other shows.
I know, right? Yeah, it's hard to talk about this one.
I feel like I'm also being hypocritical because I think I have literally done that though in other stories.
Me too.
Yeah. But I'm like,
yes.
I don't feel like the people that watch Bungo Stray Dogs are necessarily the people that watch these shows that we're talking about that have these kinds of like usually end of the series kinds of twists.
Oh, sure.
Well.
Or that, read self-published novels by some random YouTuber. I literally did this ending.
Yeah, you literally did this ending. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah.
Well, you spoiled it. There you go.
Yeah, I spoiled whatever. Whatever. Nobody's gonna buy it anyways. But like, I love this kind of ending. Gosh. I have a lot of thoughts and feelings about it. It's a very complicated thing.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense why you like it more than me.
Right, like you really have to plan everything together.
And hey, I applaud the effort for trying. Mm-hmm. I feel like you were doomed to fail just by being Bungo Stray Dogs for me.
Right, but I would say this is definitely a notable entry in the
It's notable,
for sure.
It's notable, but I think you are including way more things in the entries.
Probably you'll have to remind me of the others.
Yeah. But that's my point. Is that I can think of about a half dozen, including this one, but it's I think there's a bunch of them that people would add into this that I wouldn't because of how limited and how
there very well may be many that
it's like saying The Dark Knight is an example of this ending.
Sure. Yeah. No.
But that's why I brought up the Gotham deserves, but not
yeah. Okay. There are many stories where villains will basically say that they're doing something like this, and you don't even buy that they're actually trying to do something like this, because it's very easy for something like this to actually, at the end of the day, just be an ego trip, right? And it's just, oh, cool. You said that you had some way to fix everything, and you just had to be the one to do it, and you have to override everyone else's free will and do a bunch of heinous shit along the way. No, you're just fucking crazy and delusional, and not in I might just be crazy enough to do the thing that needs to happen. No, you actually are not looking at the cards.
Or even the even more criminal thing of no, you're just impatient.
Sure.
If you just did nothing, we're headed this way anyway.
If Indiana Jones wasn't in the movie, the Nazis still would have melted their faces off on an island and everything would have been okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But hey, I am excited for Bungo Stray Dogs to have a season 6 because the characters and the banter and the enjoyment of having them go on these wild adventures, solving puzzles that have no business being this complicated.
is dope as hell, and it's super fun. Yeah.
And I love all the comedic banter that I get out of this with you because there's some fun tropes that they tease and play into for our enjoyment as writers to be like, we're having our cake and eating it.
Yep.
And so this was just the moment where I go, yes, maybe that's where I can go with it. Yes, I think this was a notable entry in that I consider it an entry of the...
Right. Many of the other ones I don't think, you'll probably bring them up and I'll be like, that's not an entry.
Right. And I would just consider those I would also consider this not an entry. So this is notable in that I wouldn't just say notable. I would just say this is an entry.
Yeah.
This is an actual entry.
Yep.
And they did great work in the character of Fukuchi. I just don't like him as much as a villain. I find him a way more interesting member of the Hunting Dogs who is trying to do something idealistic, but is stuck within the confines of being a human being with a sword.
Sure.
And in an organization where people are going to be othering or caring more about their state versus the people within the state.
Well, and those are the kinds of things that I really loved about him because regardless of whether or not the intricacies of this plan and the narrative, blah, 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 all that stuff, whether or not you're like opening the fridge and you're like, hang on, this doesn't make sense. His presence in this arc, fantastic.
Yeah.
Right? He was awesome. He was a total threat. Like,
oh my God, yeah.
He was scary, all of that stuff.
He had great agency.
Yep.
He had great weaknesses and limitations.
Yes, the weaknesses and limitations especially, because the idea of him being frustrated and like, I am trying to do
everything myself.
Do everything myself. Bring about world peace, whatever, all of this. And it's the, fuck, I need to run around this airport.
Because a goddamn 10-year-old just took my elder vampire on a holy sword.
Right. Like that is fantastic. That is absolutely the kind of thing that a lot of stories would be like, wait, we can't have our villain do something so uncool. You know? Right. Like they have to, and that's, I think, maybe also why I like him more than Fyodor. Because Fyodor didn't have those moments of like getting thwarted where we can really see the person.
I think he did.
Yeah.
I think it was more just that he was able to.
I have 10 million plans, so I
he was able to improvise through it. Like the idea that Sigma basically
literally was like,
I got you.
I got you at gunpoint. And he's like,
and he pulled out the, thank you. I loved that. No, I think that was awesome. I think that's what makes him a great villain is that you can tell he couldn't have planned for every single outcome.
Yeah.
But he put in some safeguards in the, Taskete, but in Russian, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
As if they get out, maybe I might need this or something,
The hyper-intelligent characters must seem so absolutely manic and batshit from the outside if someone were to watch them, like, from a camera, because they're just like, and they just throw a note on the floor. They're like, what the fuck was that? I don't know. Might need it. This is just an anxiety person going on a tailspin.
What do you think intelligence is?
Yeah,
like, have you heard the stories of people that have like above 180 or 200 IQ?
Oh God,
it's awful. It's awful.
They're just thinking of all the ways things could go terribly.
No, not just thinking of ways. No, some of them have healthy lives and mental things. But it's just the idea of when you go through life, you're not necessarily thinking about anything ridiculous right now. Your brain is probably just engaging in this conversation.
Okay.
Because you don't have the capacity to really actively multitask on that many things at once.
I definitely turn off the music when I get lost.
No, exactly, right.
Yeah.
So the idea, if you're really intelligent, that's not just your capacity to solve a really complex puzzle, but it's also potentially your ability to multitask more effectively.
Oh, sure. So how do you get your brain to shut up?
How do you get your brain to shut up? It doesn't. No. It doesn't necessarily.
No, I think I remember hearing this thing about some dude that had like some like above 200 IQ, like they're like, wait, what even is the deal with this guy?
Yeah,
he ended up as some like bartender because he's just like, I want to keep things simple.
Right. I know that there's, I don't think there's actually any fully officially recognized above 200 IQ person ever.
Okay.
Ever. I don't want to throw numbers out there and just be completely off and wrong here. But yes, there are stories of people that have had that level of intelligence and they're basically dead in their 20s because it's just the burden is too much. The stuff that they're going through combined with, their own personal issues and stuff. Or medical issues or what have you.
Yep.
It's a lot. So
so the idea of someone that would do as much planning around the plan as people like Fyodor and, Dazai,
while being megalomaniacal
and everything, yeah. I would love to see like the little like chibi, end of episode shorts type things of
shit that they randomly do off screen.
Shit that they randomly do off screen that someone else sees and it's like, huh?
That probably already exists.
Yep. If not,
isn't there a
get
chibi? Isn't there literally a chibi Bungo Stray Dogs like
I think there is.
Thing?
Yeah.
It probably doesn't focus on that.
But if that isn't at least one of the skits, I will be disappointed.
It's probably a Dazai skit specifically.
Probably.
Something that he would do.
Yep.
But yeah.
Good season.
That's the end of the currently aired Bungo Stray Dog stuff. So thank you all for watching this show's reactions and discussions. If you want to see the next show's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general. Also, be sure to check out our Twitch channel. See if any of that interests you. We'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.